Good day, everyone. This is Carrie TMT, your 10-minute teacher. Hey, as you can tell by today's video, I got some information I wanted to share with you guys and let you be the judge. I do encourage you to watch the video to the end because I think there's a plot twist that no one is really looking at, okay? Also, if you follow my videos, you know that I am a registered nurse. I do have a bachelor's degree in science and nursing, and I also have a master's degree in education. Okay, with that being said, I hope you like the video. Stay tuned. Okay, the first timeline I want to go over with you are some events that allegedly happened in Wuhan that we weren't really privy to. Okay, so timeline starts back in December on the 8th. This is when they had their first reported case of an unknown virus that was making someone very sick, and they couldn't figure out what was really going on. So they made some calls. The central government got involved. People came down from the Beijing area and they did an investigation. A day later, they made the announcement that yes, we are dealing with some type of virus, and that's how we got the 2019 coronavirus, okay? The next day, 8 people were arrested, threatened, and their phones were taken because they were trying to get the word out. But government officials in the city were saying, no, keep it hush hush. We're not even keeping this, we're keeping this under wraps. So 10 days later is when they had their first reported death. It wasn't reported if it was so much this first person up here on the 8th. The information was not made clear if that person was actually this person. We don't know, but this is their first reported death. So it could have been someone who was diagnosed or sometime, anytime between the 8th. It could have been a different person, but on the 11th, they had their first reported death. And remind you, when we say reported, that just means reported. So there could have been more than that. There could have been many others. By the 16th, 5 days later from the first death, they had 49 confirmed cases. 49. Now, just 2 days later, about 3 to 4 miles away, China held a very large community banquet. It's sort of a big deal. I guess they could accommodate to up to 100,000, but 40,000 people showed up for this banquet and partook. Eating together, touching, feeling, whatever have you, at this banquet. That happened 2 days after they knew they had 49 confirmed cases, and in such a close proximity from what we're calling ground zero, which is that fish market right there in Wuhan, China. 4 days after that, citizens, they made an announcement that everyone had to wear a mask. So that meant if you went out in public at any time, you had to wear a mask. If you didn't have one on, you weren't allowed to even go into a grocery store because they didn't really know what they were dealing with. Then, 5 days after that, the mayor of Wuhan steps down. Now, many of us were unaware of this information going on around here because it was just getting, legs around the 22nd or whatever, because the whole mask thing kind of came out. But right in between here on the 26th, our beloved Kobe had died. So the news was really focusing on that. So a lot of us didn't get this information here. Okay, let me give you another scenario. Okay, so for this next part of the video, I do want to go over a quick vocabulary with you. It'll let the next part run a little smoother, okay? All right, so the first thing I want to go over is the 1,000 Talents program. It is a recruitment program that was founded in 2008 that basically entices the best and the brightest scientists from all over to come practice and research here in America. Now, let that be known that the Chinese can come over here and practice and research in our labs, and basically they're developing whatever serums and whatever we need here in the States, okay? Now, the next one is the FBI. I think we all kind of know what the FBI is, the Federal Bureau of Investigations. The next one, the NHI, that is the National Institute of Health, okay? I put it in green to kind of remind you that it is largely about funding. They fund a lot of grant money to a lot of these labs and for scientists to do their work here, okay? The PHAC is the Public Health Agency of Canada. Dr. Chu Dr. Chu, an amazing scientist, Chinese, and she is largely responsible for the creation of the ZMapp, which is the Ebola vaccine. I know you guys are all kind of really remember when Ebola came, and there was a doctor, an American doctor, who actually came in contact and contracted Ebola. And when they flew him to the CDC in Atlanta, he was able to get a test trial of this ZMapp, and it cured him. So, yeah, she's largely responsible for that, and she's gotten many awards, her and her team. And her team also consists of some of her students from back in China, and they come over and they help her as well. I need you to know who Dr. Chang is. Dr. Chang is actually the husband of Dr. Chu. Dr. Chang, you can't look up SARS and not see Dr. Chang's name there, because he is like a research and treatment guru expert, whatever you want to call it, about SARS, okay? The NML, which is the National Microbiology Lab, it is a lab up in Winnipeg, Canada. It is a level 4, meaning, and it is the only level 4 lab that we have here in North America. It actually can withstand and contain the worst and the most dangerous viruses that we are working with right now, okay? So this woman here and her husband, her team, they work predominantly here. And I mean, it is the big guns, the best of the best, okay? And then finally, I need you to know what the RMCP, and that is the Royal Mounted Canadian Police Department, okay? All right, stay tuned. Now, remember the program I talked about that was started back in 2008? So, fast forward to 2015, the FBI, the Counterintelligence Division, they had a problem with that program the whole time. They felt, their argument was that the Chinese were able to come over and benefit from all the previous research that was done in the U.S., that they could come over and basically float on in, continue with that research, and he felt like it was just a conflict of interest, okay? I'm saying he, but the whole division, okay? So that's what the FBI. So for 2 years, the FBI continued to interview Chinese, Americans, scientists in major institutions. During that time, like 10 prestigious Chinese or Chinese American scientists either stepped down, left because they felt like they were being racially profiled, and they felt like the workplace was a little bit hostile at times. So by 2017, the FBI did get permission to search the email accounts from a certain institution, and it was called the MD Anderson Cancer and Research Center, okay? That is largely where Dr. Chu and Dr. Chang practiced, okay? So during their investigations, they did start to find out that there could possibly be some foul play at a particular institute, which was called the MD Anderson Cancer Research Center. That is largely in part where Dr. Chu and Dr. Chang practiced. So around December 11th in 2017, the FBI got permission to obtain some emails from about 23 of their faculty. So after hours, they went in, removed Dr. Q's computer, and replaced it with another one. And then from that time, they did do an investigation. They went through a lot of emails to find out some information. So with that, the FBI contacted the NHI, and basically they let it be known that, hey, we've done some investigations, we've actually checked some emails, and we are seeing that there could possibly be a breach in the policies and procedures from receiving funding from the NHI. So remember, the NHI is largely responsible for funding these institutes for the lab work and all the research that these doctors do here, okay? So once the NHI got wind of it, they sent out about 10,000 institutions letters warning them on the possibility of a systematic effort to steal research, stem cells, vaccines, whatever. The research that was made and done here under government funded, under grant money, and possibly send it abroad somewhere. So these letters went out. So to narrow things down more so to the MD Anderson Cancer Center, on August, sometime in August in 2018, they did send a letter to the Cancer Center, and they were given 30 days to respond. Okay. Now, as a result, for the NHI sending the letter to the cancer, they were able to do more of an investigation. Now, mind you, they already gave permission a year ago for them to go in and obtain these emails. So, as a result from what they found in those emails, the Cancer Center did stop allowing Dr. Chu and her students to go back and forth so frequently to China, because at that time, she was able to go back and forth from abroad, and it was unsure if she is a nationalist or a Canadian citizen, but she did make frequent trips back home to China, okay? So what they did was they made, precautions, because there was evidence that they needed to slow things down with her, but not enough for them to stop her practice. So what they did do is that they had her no longer take her regular work computer, that she had to take a loaner computer and loaner phones, as well as her and her students. So they couldn't take stuff from the facility and lab that they would do, because they would take it home, and that could possibly help breach how information was getting leaked over to China. Fast forward to 2019, the PHAC tips off the RCMP. Now, remember, now the NHI and the FBI, they have enough information, and now we're still streamlining this this breach to this cancer center, the MD Anderson Cancer and Research Center. So the Public Health Agency of Canada is now involved. They're like, whoa, wait, what's going on here? So they tip off local police department, and then they do their investigation, okay? So fast forward to 2019, as a result of this investigation, the police department investigating, July 5th, Dr. Chu, Dr. Chang, and their students from China were denied access, and they were escorted out of the lab and sent back. They later told other employees at the lab that they would be on leave from an unknown time and not to have any contact with them. And from then, you heard crickets. No one heard anything about that. Fast forward to 2020, just the other day, January 26th, it's in the news that Dr. Lieber, a Harvard scientist, was arrested along with a second Chinese scientist who was able to steal 21 vials of stem cells from the lab and get them across the border. Now, people are wondering what offense did Dr. Lieber do? So they're alleging that he made a false statement about his ties with China, that he basically didn't disclose that he was working with Institute in Wuhan as well. So there could possibly be a breach of information and research, as well as vaccine, stem cells, whatever have you. Very important IP that is getting across. So, in a nutshell, we have Chinese Americans working here in the States and possibly leaking that important information, research, everything that was produced here in the States being sent over to China. So, with all that being said, you kind of got to ask yourself, did the virus really come from the food? Or was it made in a lab and then released on the people? I don't know. The choice is yours. This is Carrie, TMT, your 10-minute teacher. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, like, comment, even subscribe to the channel if you like. That's all I have for you. Have a good day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.